Some of the core practices in Lean, very, very important as we understand Lean is a little different in terms of how we approach the things from the other ways of agile methodologies. So when it comes to this practices in Lean, we need to just stick to some of the key practices. So for example, when you try and look at any situation, any problem, any development scenario, any functionality that you want to add to your product, you need to first think of all the possible options. So how many options do you have? Think ahead. And once you think of the options, you have an idea that, okay, this might take so much time, or this might lead me to this particular point of time. And then, as we discussed yesterday, do not jump into the action quickly. Wait for the last responsible moment. If you start steering your boat early, then you might actually go in a different direction, right? Again, talking about the Titanic versus kayak. The kayak is very lean. I can actually, looking at the kind of speedboat coming from on my way, like to avoid the head-on collision, I can just quickly turn my kayak with one swift of the paddle row, and I can just go left within a few seconds. So I don't have to really keep think about it. Oh my gosh, there is a huge speedboat coming my way. I should do something. If I do it like that, without actually waiting for that last moment, then what would happen? I turn it beforehand, and I might actually have a collision from the back of the kayak. So it's important you actually realize that. Do not take decisions really at haphazardly. You just take a decision thinking about the options, think of the right time, and then take a decision. You don't have to really. And once you take a decision, you need to act quickly. That's what, again, Lean says. Do not wait. Once you actually decided that, yes, I need to go left, then quickly row the paddle, and then you are out of the danger. But if you just take a decision, I need to go left, and then keep sitting like that in the kayak, then comes the head-on collision from the speedboat. So it's important you realize that Lean is about, it's about having the options, trying to take a decision at the right moment, and then once you take a decision, act on it quickly and change your course. That's Lean all about. And when you talk about, for example, the different aspects of how you need to work within the context of software development, again, Lean comes up with a lot of different ways you can focus on. One of the important things is the contract. So think about the contract. Have something that is important between the customer and yourself as a business. Make sure it is written. Make sure the agreement is written. That's where the developers also try and do the definition of done. For example, in Scrum is a contract. The sprint goal is a contract. The sprint backlog is a contract between the development team and the product owner. So there is a commitment. So they estimate, and then once they estimate, they commit to the estimates, and then they agree and they sign up for this contract of, yes, we'll work on this within this sprint time box, and we will deliver. And then once you have that, then obviously you need to understand how you would measure whether you're in the right progress, whether you're going in the right direction and the speed is right and the right way, right? So if you want to do all of these, then you need to measure. If you do not measure, you're not managing it. So that's where the definition of done, again, for example, to say that whether you've got it right, and some of the sprint velocity, some of the other measures and metrics like sprint velocity, the burn down charts, all of those would really help you to get to that. And then once you get to these measures and metrics, you need to constantly validate, verify, test, evaluate, make sure you're actually going in the right direction, right? So, and then once you know that problem, for example, as we discussed the last few times with the agile context, when we deliver things so rapidly, so quickly in such a short time frames, obviously that means that the code is not optimal, right? You're actually trying to create quick win situations, quick win solutions. So in order to fix those defects which might come from the quick work, because you're not spending a lot of time trying to analyze and design and architect and develop, you're trying to quickly develop something and then delivering. So that means that there is a potential for a lot of problems which are short term. So if you look at the long term, then these must be avoided. These must be removed from those. So that's the reason why we do a lot of refactoring. And that's why I was talking about in the context of Scrum, that we would have 1 or 2 sprints initially, or even in the middle, every often, after about 5 or 10 sprints. We will just have one sprint, which is all about a spike, which we call as an architectural spike. We look at how the architecture has been evolved. Is it been really the right architecture? And then we look at the code, we'll do refactoring of the code. We make sure that the spaghetti code and all those loose ends are all tied up, and make sure that the documentation on the code is up to the scratch. So this is the kind of things that we do within the agile development. Refactoring, very, very important. You might come across this term, in a lot of contexts. So understand that refactoring is nothing but taking the existing code, whatever has been written, trying to optimize it, trying to correct it, making sure it is actually workable in a longer term time frame, rather than just a short term solution, quick win. So that's what we do in refactoring again. And then if you talk about the next one, it is about the conceptual integrity. So you need to have integrity of conceptual integrity, and also there's another one called perceptual integrity or perceived integrity. So these two go hand in glove, because you need to deliver solutions which have got that high reliability, that something, the technology should be reliable, and your continuous development, continuous integration, and continuous delivery. That's the whole mantra of agile. So that needs to be done in a way that you have adopted as a ways of working. So very, very important in the context of lean. Then when you talk in the context of, again, lean development and the software that we have been referring to, quite opposed to the manufacturing, we need to understand that we have lean coming up as a way to tell you, to motivate you, to make sure that you're actually acting and picking up the right prioritization of features, making sure the feature that you prioritized are the ones that are actually being worked on and delivered. So for that, the teams that we are actually having or hiring, those teams which are self-organizing, as we discussed last few weeks. Every week I keep telling that the team empowerment is the most important aspect of an agile team. So they should be able to organize themselves. They're self-motivated, self-organized set of individuals or professionals who can do things on their own. They don't have to wait for orders from the top. So that's the whole idea. And in the development team, as we have seen in lean, there's no manager, there's no boss, there's no that leader that is appointed or that is actually nominated. Everybody is a leader in their own right. So whether it's a technology leadership, business leadership, product leadership, then there is the customer leadership, then there is the test leadership. Irrespective of which role you perform, you need to actually own up the product and lead and take the leadership on your own. And that's the beauty of agile expertise. When that happens, obviously that would give you the not just the expertise but also the experience in taking the product forward. And that's why we are able to actually churn product launches and release a product quicker. The features can be added really quickly and then release into the market really quickly. You don't have to wait longer, because you're not waiting for orders. You're not waiting for, oh, tell me what to do next, what should I do next. You're not taking that. You're actually taking decisions yourself as a team. You're actually trying to deploy the build, get it tested. Once it is done, then you actually deploy the build finally onto the production environment live. Again, DevOps mentality. So you don't have to really depend on somebody or wait for somebody to take an action to help you deploy the build. So we'll talk about the DevOps again in another context. I'm going to actually hold a series of courses on DevOps thinking and DevOps culture and DevOps tools and techniques. I think we can do that hopefully from December. Just pretty much like once we conclude the Agile boot camp, we'll start the DevOps boot camp. Again, very, very relevant.